You've stopped into another episode of Dad Crossing where myself, Nick, and my co-host Sean will have real, honest chats about the highs and lows of dad life. We'll laugh together at the craziness of parenting and the silliness of our kiddos, and we'll support each other through the challenges and tough decisions of fatherhood. Whether you're a seasoned granddad or a dad-to-be, we promise laughs, relatable, and sometimes raw talk, and expert help to tackle the tough issues. Not from Sean and me, but from the amazing guests we'll have on the show. So let's be dads crossing through life together. Welcome to Dad Life with your two favorite dads, Nick and Sean. I don't know. I just thought I'd start that way. I just was like,
it's a nice. That is just a nice way to
you
start
like it. All right.
If you're listening to this, yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right, cool. Maybe I'll keep doing it. Maybe I won't. So today
surprise.
Surprise. So today we're gonna be talking about being tired in three very, very different
unique
ways. Soul tired, empty tank tired, and just like I need to find a pillow tired.
Yeah, I fall into one of those categories.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, I'm in two at the moment, and let me explain why. It's also part of the reasons we got to this topic. I had a very interesting morning, like early morning. Woke up at 1 a.m. with like pain. I would say excruciating pain, but that would be a bit much. But I mean, it was not a great feeling. I was very unhappy. And so I was like, really thought it was like heartburn because it was all like in the chest area, but kind of like also, I don't know, it just felt like it was everywhere in like the front of my body. And so I took some antacids, didn't do anything. Then finally I woke up Becca, who was like, what? What's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I got a lot of pain. I don't know what to do with it. I was like,
I'm
ER, not ER. Like, what do you think? And she's like, oh, that's unfortunate, honey. And then she kind of rolled over. And I was like, no, this is more of a red alert than what you're giving it. And then she did, to her credit, she did come out of bed. So first I wasn't sure. I was like, I think she's just going to go back to sleep. And she was like, I don't know, do whatever you got to do whatever you think you should do. And she asked, she was like, do you want me to take you? And I was like, no, I was like, the kids are sleeping. I can drive. And so I went to the doctor, went to the ER, not doctor, because it's 1 a.m, which is, if you're in America, it's like a big step, because once you do that in America, you're in for at least a 4-digit bill. Like at least. And so it's like, well, that's fantastic. And then when you tell them that you're like, I don't know. And I really didn't want to say like I had like chest pain, because I was like, I don't really know where the pain is. It's just in the front. But immediately they were like all over, which is the right thing to do. I get it. Like if I had a heart attack, it would be unfortunate. I did not have a heart attack. My heart is in good shape. Which is the first thing I texted Becca, and she was like, "Oh, thank God!" Yeah. And then everything after that, she was already asleep. Yeah, she was out. She was like, "That's all." She was like, "That's all I wanted to know." She was like, "If you would have," I was waiting for like the red alert, and it was very funny. They did the EKG thing, and she's like, she ripped it off and showed it to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "You're all good there." She was like, we'll run some tests to make sure." She was like, "But I'm pretty sure you're all good there." And then she was walking out of the room, and she turned around and she said, "Do you have your gallbladder?" And I said, yes, I do.
No, I left it at home.
Yeah.
I didn't pack it. It's in my other jeans.
Yeah, and she was like, "Okay," and I was like, wait. Am I going to have my gallbladder at the end of the day? And she didn't answer the question. She was like, I just wanted to know if you had it. And then she walked out. And I was like, that's not an answer. So then I went through all these other tests.
What she really did is she went in the back and she was like, hey, this guy's got his gallbladder. We can get something for that on the black market. You haven't got like a secret scar, or you weren't put to sleep at any point.
No. So then the nurse comes in with this like tube of stuff. Like it's like literally like it's like a tube. And she breaks it open and she's like, okay. She's like, everything. And she's like, it does not taste great. She was like, just the best thing I tell people is like one swig. And I was like, well, what does it taste like? She's like, I don't know. I've never drank it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I guess I'll tell you what it tastes like then. And it tastes like the liquid antibiotic covered up by like some, like if you ground up chalk and then poured water over it and then put a couple of sugar packets in it. That's like the best way I can describe it. But after like, I
Nice.
don't know, a minute, the pain went away. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I'm pretty sure you have gallbladder problems. And then I was like, oh, I was like, great. Well, that's good to know.
Well,
So
just I'd have asked the question of, so I drank this stuff, and what would have happened if the pain hadn't have gone away?
yeah,
Not only now am I
that's
in
a fair
pain,
question.
I also had to drink some stuff.
Yeah, that's a fair question. I mean, I don't know. I think they were like, once the EKG came back, they were like, okay, we're pretty sure what this dude has. And so anyway, so I did that. They did the whole thing, and I got to go in for an ultrasound on my gallbladder and see if I need to have it removed or what needs to happen with it. So but I spent all that, like that took me 5 minutes to tell you. That was a legit 4.5 hour trip to the ER to make that all happen. So that was. So I left at 1. I got home at like 5:30, and in 30 minutes, my wife's alarm went off, and she's like, "Do you want me to stay home?" And I was like, "No, it's fine." I was like, "I will." I was gonna go into work, but I had to drive Noah to his ENT appointment this afternoon, and I was like, "This is probably a bad idea. I don't know," because it's like an hour drive one way to get there, and I was like, "I don't know that I would be in the shape to drive that far." So I came back home and slept for a couple hours, and then took him. Which, by the way, speaking of medical things, just really quick, been talking about the cyst thing that Noah has. He has
Yeah, I was going to ask
a
this.
birth, like it's called a pit, and she says sometimes in that portion of the ear that there's like an empty space that just doesn't get filled. Finally, an answer, Sean. After a very
Yay.
long and expensive journey. I mean, I just wanted to be like, I wish we would have just came to you. But in America, you can't just go to an ENT. You got to get a referral so that you can pay more money first. And so she's like, yeah, she's like, he's got a pit, is what it is. And so she's like, I can take care of it, but right now the problem is pretty much gone. She was like, it could come back. She was like, it could come back in a year. She was like, or it might not come back ever. She was like, you just don't know. And so I actually haven't even talked to Becca about it yet. But my first blush was, and I asked her, I was like, well, my thought is, if it comes back, now we know what it is. Now we'll just send him to you, and you can just take care of the pit and the cyst at the same time. She was like, yeah. She was like, that's a fair. That makes a lot of sense. And so I think that's what we're gonna do. So he escaped the knife. He was very nervous that it was gonna get lanced or something, and so he was very happy about that. So the only question he had, Sean, which I can really appreciate this question. This is a Nick question. Like, it was born and bred from my DNA. She's like, so we would have to, if that happens again, Noah, we'd have to cut it open. We have to cut it open, and I don't know. She said I would take it out. I don't know what that means because I'm like, what's an empty space? What are you taking out? But whatever. We're not having the surgery, so I didn't ask the question yet. And he was like, okay. He's like, am I gonna be asleep for this? And she was like, yeah. She's like, okay, that's fine.
Nap time.
Yeah, he's like, I'm cool. Just please don't make me like be awake while I feel you cutting into my ear, which I can totally understand. That would have been a me question for sure.
Without a doubt, if anybody is having to do something to me where it requires me to be cut open,
Yeah,
I am being asleep.
that's right. 100%. So, anyways, that was my fun medical story. It also made me feel old, Sean. I'm not gonna lie, because they're like, "Well, you need to eat a low-fat diet." I'm like, "Okay, I feel like my grandpa," and and just stay away, be drinking more. And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, all right, thanks. All right, I'm old. I get it. I hear you. Roger that."
What I always find is, like, you get this advice, change your diet, you got to eat better, and blah, blah, blah. And the person that's usually stood there telling you it is bigger. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to come across as the person that's one to body shame, but you're telling me I need to eat better? And it's like,
Yeah. You're like, Take some of your own
usually have
advice,
it.
you jerk. But no,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna try to do that because I really don't want to have my gallbladder taken out. I know it's not the end of the world, but which also was the other thing I thought was really funny. I was like, so what? I was like, so what's the what's the repercussions having my gallbladder out? I was like, what am I not gonna do? And she was like, nothing. I was like, what else is this thing here? Why didn't you take it out when I was born? It could have saved us so many problems.
Yeah. It's like I think there's three, is there not three organs in the body which are absolutely useless and don't do it very lot? There's the appendix, the gallbladder, and is it the spleen? Like
I don't know.
all three of them can cause you excruciating pain and, if left unattended, potentially life-threatening illnesses. But they remove it, it's gone, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
I
lost my appendix. I think I had my appendix out when I was 8 because it ruptured. So I didn't have an option to not have it out.
At 8.
It
That
wasn't
seems
there anymore.
really
So
young to have a
no, that's
ruptured appendix.
common.
Is it really? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I can't I woke up one morning. Well, I'd had like what my mum would thought was a sickness bug, which actually turns out when you have a grumbling appendix and appendicitis, you actually start with a fever and throwing up,
Mm.
and that lasted for like a week. And then one morning, I couldn't move. I just woke up and I was like folded like a deck chair. And my mum was like, "Oh, you probably just pulled a muscle from blah blah blah." And she's like, "But we'll go down to the doctors and get this." But at this point, like my dad was at work, so he had the only car. So like I had to go with my mum to walk my brother to school and then walk to the doctor. And then when like the doctor was there and he was like trying to fold me down and I wouldn't move, and then like he poked me in the stomach and I just clammed back up again. He was like, "Yeah, this boy needs to go to the hospital now." And my mum's like, "Ah, well, I'll have to walk him home first, and I'll get yeah, let's walk. I'll get him home, and then I'll get somebody to take us." And it was like, "No, we're going in ambulance now." And she was like, "Oh, okay."
That's such old school parenting. Like, he needs to see an ambulance now. Okay, well, we'll take the kids, drop them off, do some chores, and then I'll walk them over to the hospital later. Thanks for letting us know. I knew exactly what she was gonna say. That's my favorite.
But yeah, that was fun. That's yeah, just an insight that like chicken goes sideways really fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it
so
really
this
can.
like this 4.5 hour trip to the ER and then very little sleep has left you very sleep deprived at this point. So kudos for spending the evening talking to me about being sleep deprived, because
Yeah.
it's definitely what you want to be doing.
I got a couple hours of sleep this in the morning because I did, like I said, I decided to come home, and then a couple hours before this whole thing like started off. So 4 hours is what I'm working on. 4 hours of broken sleep. Our hospital, which is not known for being great, I mean, it literally like shut down 4 times. The ER staff was really good. The only thing I didn't understand is I was the only guy in this 4-bed room. Okay. The only one. There was one other guy in a room across the hall. He got let out early. He liked to cuss a lot, but that was fun.
There's no need for that.
And they never were like, because a lot of it was just waiting. Like a lot of it, like waiting for test results. I had to take 2 blood draws. I had to wait 3 hours between blood draws. Like, so that was like the biggest thing. Nobody ever was like, "Hey, would you like us to shut off the lights?" It was just like, well, there's nobody in here. It doesn't like, why? And I could have just asked, but I was like, whatever. Also sad, my phone was like almost dead, so there's that. But anyways.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things in the world, especially because you like at 1 o'clock in the morning you wouldn't have charged it for very long.
Yeah, no, it was only at like 40%. It was almost dead when I went to bed, and so it was like barely at 40%, I think. And so yeah. But yeah, so it did. It left like I just bed. I will be ready to go to bed for sure. And also, it's just kind of like motivation is really low. I was gonna tell Noah and Ariel at the same time because they didn't even know because it happened when they were in bed and I was back before they got up. But Noah, I think, could tell that I was like just I was just focusing on the thing, which was driving. Like normally we banter back and forth with conversation when we're driving, or we'll be talking about what we're gonna do next in Grounded, or what's gonna happen in Brothership, which we're playing, and blah 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 blah. But he's like, "Are you okay, Dad?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I am great." And so then finally when we got to his appointment, I was like, "Yeah, but I gotta tell you something." And I was like, "I'm fine, but here it is," which is also part of the dad thing, right? Because
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, what? Dad gets sick too? That doesn't happen. Dad just takes us to doctor
Like,
appointments."
yeah, I was gonna say you always end up there's been this like the Terminator really to the kids because
Yeah,
it's like you can't get ill.
yeah.
So
So yeah, there was a moment of
yeah,
panic on his face. You could tell when I was like, "So Dad went to the hospital this morning when you were asleep." And he's like, "I was like, don't worry, it's all good. I'm fine. Otherwise, I
fine.
wouldn't
I
be
just
here."
can't eat the McDonald's.
That's yeah, I did. I was real straightforward with him too. So they said I need to lay off fatty foods, which is McDonald's. And he's like, well, that's okay. He's like, I probably don't need to eat as much
Yeah, and do
McDonald's
I
either.
have to do that too?
So no, he was really cool. He was like, I probably shouldn't eat as much McDonald's as I do either, Dad. And I was like, so no, the Noah I don't know, just the Noah that I can appreciate so much to just be like, yeah, it's okay. Like I'll just do it too, Dad. That's fine. I don't need to eat it either. So yeah, I just love him for that.
Cool.
So,
I like that. That's good.
but yeah, so
Logan would have been like, I like my chicken nuggets too much, so you either eat this with me and die. If you die, you die. But I'm getting my nuggets.
he
So.
would not. He
No,
would.
no, he wouldn't. He'd still eat his nuggets. He just
Yeah.
would tell me off if I tried to eat anything.
He'd be like, "Don't you eat any more nuggets, Dad? I need you
Yeah.
around to buy me more nuggets.
Yeah.
You're my nuggets."
Yeah. Basically, you are my chauffeur, the food maker, and the NPC.
No, you're not an NPC because you're a very playable character. So that's the. And you're not
Oh
like
yeah,
the.
he knows how to play me like a fiddle.
I feel like that's Ariel more than Noah, but happens with Noah too. But I feel like Ariel gets away.
Yeah.
Ariel gets away with it more because I'm just like, I don't realize that it happened until it already has happened and the deed's done, and I'm like, oh crap, she got me again. Dang it.
Yeah, you do. It's a daddy daughter thing.
Yeah, it is.
Because they can all do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm very tired and I am kind of running on an empty. But my soul is not empty. I don't have the third one. I'm very raring to go.
yeah. See, I get a lot of the mental tired, but that comes from not having a body clock. So it's like, it's 11:45 at night in the UK while we're doing this, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, you need to go to bed straight away after this. Don't continue playing skate. That's a really bad idea and not a great use of your time because you've got things to do tomorrow. But then also, I'm on nights starting tomorrow night. So it's like, if I stop up that little bit longer, I'll sleep better during the day tomorrow. So I'm more prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I balance it. So I end up just being mentally tired because well, we've spoken about it before. I will stay awake for silly amount of hours at a time, but that's because I've got to take kids to school. There's parenting side of stuff to do. There's the husband side of things to do, duties and terms and stuff like that, and helping out and working shifts. So I can get used to that. Been working shifts since 2011, so kind of get used to it. But I found recently the mental tired begins to come in pretty hard and fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of what like you were doing with Noah and driving. It's like I was taking Logan. I know Monday morning when I take Logan to school after my last night shift, I know I'm going to be driving him to school really tired, and he will be like well rested because he's had a nice weekend of not being at school, chilling out.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have had a good night's sleep into Monday morning, and he will go on and on and on and on and on about stuff. And it's I love him for it because he's vocabulary is fantastic. He can like vocalize how he feels, what he feels, his opinion, so quick to get things and work things out, but at the same time, he can talk for England. And like I can say to him as we're driving, I'll be like, "Hey, like, Dad, what about this? Dad, think about," and I'm like, I was at work all night, bud. I'm really tired.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on trying not to run other kids over on the way to school. Let's just we'll have this discussion later, and think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ability to focus soon disappears when you get to that mental tired stage.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah, and I think because when you're taking Logan by himself, right? Like, there's no one else in the
Yeah,
vehicle. Yeah, yeah. See, and I think that's why Noah noticed it more too. Noah is much more chatty with me when it's just him. Like when I'm taking both of them to school in the morning, he's just not near as chatty. Maybe it's because it's the morning. That might be part of it. But it's just also for whatever reason, it's like Ariel's not in the car to talk to, and so he's asking me all the questions that he wants to ask me because he knows like I'm his captive audience. I'm there to so
yeah,
and I was kind of answering them, but just like one worded, not really like having a conversation with them. And I think that's when he was like, oh, something's up.
yeah. And it doesn't make you the best parent. You end up being just on autopilot,
Yeah, for sure.
and they are very aware of it
Mm-hmm. Yep.
eventually, if it's like that for a long period. So yeah, and I think the only way to get around that is for the mental side of things and being on that auto, it is sleep
Mm-hmm.
and rest. But you know, there's no rest for the wicked, they say. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to be busy and stuff like that. So I mean, you're doing well because it's not usual that you like, other than back in the original Animal Crossing days, it's not
Right.
usual that you would be that sleep deprived.
Yeah. No, I
Okay.
don't. I don't run your schedule near. So yeah, no. But
No, and
I'm feeling okay.
I try not to. Lindsay's really good with the sleep hygiene thing because that's where that leads to for me is the sleep hygiene thing. Um,
I've never heard
so
that
like
term before.
on an evening, pardon?
I've never heard that term before. I like it.
Ah,
Sleep
so yeah,
hygiene.
it's sleep hygiene is like having a really scheduled bedtime and bedtime routine. So
Mm-hmm.
I promised I wouldn't really speak about because she wasn't upset. The TikTok that we released about the soup bean round thing last week, she was like, "Don't be mentioning me again on the podcast." I didn't consent to that. And I know she's joking, but
Mm.
she has a really good routine in terms of like she'll go up to bed and she'll scroll for a little bit, and then like she'll do a whole skincare routine that she's got at the moment, and she'll get back into bed and she'll read until she falls asleep. It's really cute. I can go up sometimes and like she'll be kind of just slumped ever so slightly, like the thumb's still in the book, and like
Mm-hmm.
so I have to like take a hand out and then take the page. I usually have to take a watch off as well because she's never doesn't take that off bed sometimes. But she has a really good like method of like coming away from screens, that kind of distraction and stuff like that, and allowing herself to go to sleep earlier. She's done that for a while now. She's definitely in bed before I am. Where mine is more of a I will sit down here and play games and stuff like that until I am ready to be like, I need to go to bed. I'm like looking at the time and going, if I go to bed now, I'm going to get like 6 hours sleep. And that's pretty good if I get straight to sleep. And then I had just like this whole like mathematical conversation with myself
Yeah.
about time. And then I'll go to bed and get in, and I can hit the pillow and go straight to sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I will struggle. Depends on like what's been going on and stuff and what's going on in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But usually I hit the pillow and go straight to sleep. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the blessing of working shifts is you can just head hits pillow, sleep. So
Yeah. 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 I'm usually pretty good about just falling asleep. Every once in a while, I'll struggle, like you said, but for the most part, Becca likes to Becca likes to have music on, like not music, but like ambient sounds, like rain
sounds.
and stuff like that. So sometimes she
Rain
needs
sounds.
that to
Fried
go to
chicken.
sleep. So yeah, fried chicken. That's right.
I can't do since I learned that that's how they record the rain sounds. I can't do it without thinking of KFC. So, but we have a fan on. I
I'll
like
be
the
hungry.
white noise. Yeah, so we have a fan on in the bedroom, one of those pedestal ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have it pointing at me because it's just too cold.
Yeah.
But like I'll have it blowing across the bottom of the bed, so I like the air. There's air circulating, but the
Hmm.
noise of the fan, the hum,
Yeah,
that like
yeah,
knocks me
I like a good fan as well. That's another one that I can get behind. So yeah, sleepy, tired. I don't know. Feel like sometimes I just live there. I've actually gotten pretty good about being able to, sometimes we'll come home and I'll be like, guys, go do your thing. You got chores to do, go do your chores, and then you can do whatever you want. And then I'll go into the room and I'll just shut my door. And I'll take like a 10-minute snoozer. Like, if I like I'm done with work, the kids are home, I just need like 10 minutes. And then I'll usually wake up. Sometimes I'm not even sure if I fell asleep. Um, but I like wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more refreshed. I can make it through the afternoon and evening and whatever dad taxiing I probably have to do for coming up and food making and all that
yeah.
stuff.
And that's probably a wise thing to do because you are doing a lot of driving about. Like when Ariel's got soccer practice and
Yeah.
Noah's got the rehearsals and stuff
Mhm.
for the musical, like the grabbing 10, 15 minutes of sleep is probably a very wise thing to do.
Yeah, it seems to work for me at the moment, so I do appreciate that. So, the last one we were talking about though, soul battery empty. That's a deep one, man. Like
Yeah,
that's tough.
that's a yeah. You've slugged your way through a hard game and you're on the last inning. If you want to go for a baseball analogy, that's
Mm-hmm.
about as good as my baseball knowledge goes. Um, but yeah, there's not a lot you can do at that point other than try and talk to somebody about it because usually by the time you're at that point, you've kind of exhausted every aspect of it. You've done the whole sleep hygiene thing. You've tried to change your routine. Some people exercise more because they say that you've got to spend energy to save energy in
Mm-hmm.
terms of if you do a little bit more, you feel more active, you feel better in yourself. So usually by the time you get to the soul drained, like battery drained down, is time to speak to somebody and seek an assistance in terms of an outlet for how you feel. You know, sharing a problem if you've got something on the back of your mind. Like you say, we sometimes you can struggle to get to sleep. If that becomes a constant thing, take some action in terms of speaking to somebody about it. Or even if you're one of those that likes to overthink and you lay in bed and your brain's like, oh, I need to do this tomorrow. I need to remember to do this at the weekend. I've got to do this next week. I've got this. It's like make a list kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that is a deep and difficult one to get away from.
Yeah, and you're right. That's the thing, right? So like if you're mentally cooked because you've done one thing, like a lot of times, if I'm working on finance stuff for Habitat or something like that, or whatever, like I can come away from that and do something else. And okay, if I'm sleepy tired and I just need to crash, then that's pretty obvious. I take my 10 minutes if I can get it in. I try to fight through it, and then I get a better night's sleep that night. But soul battery empty, it's just not obvious what needs to happen sometimes. Like, and sometimes you're in a place that even if it is obvious, it's not obvious to you, and it's dangerous to you. It's unfair and unfortunate to the ones that you love, because oftentimes if your soul battery empty, you're not treating them entirely great, right? Like, I mean, you don't even mean to. You just don't, and you may not even know. You're just slogging your way through as best as you can. And I think you said it right. Like, if that's where you're at, talk to somebody. Like,
Yeah.
talk to a counselor or something that can kind of point you in a direction. Like, there's
I mean, it doesn't need necessarily be to a counselor. I mean, that is a very good idea. And if you have that availability to you, do that. But there's a lot of people, and we still get this stigma around mental health for men. I know it's a hell of a lot better than it used to
yeah.
be, but we like men don't talk. I mean, that's the one of the sole reasons why we do the podcast like we do for parenting. At the side of it is that I want to spread the awareness that it's okay to say things. It's okay to be open and honest about how you feel. Speak to somebody about how you feel. It's what I say to Logan. So emotions are there to be felt. So
Mm-hmm.
if you feel sad, it's I want to get away from this masculinity of men take themselves off to one side to have a little bit of a cry about something, and then It's stick it in the vault and crack on because that's the way to go. And it's not right. It's not right to bury the feelings and do that and slog it off on your own. You need to have an outlet and
Mhm.
be that. We had that um whole analogy when you went on that men's retreat and they were on about you need the guy in front of you, the guy behind
Mhm.
you, and the
Yeah, the
guy to
fighting
either side of you
diamond.
to carry the fine diamond. Yeah. um you need there is a level of you need that friendship around you to do that. It's like I speak to you most days,
Mhm.
unless I'm crazy busy like it is in the moment with work, and then like it can be a 2 or 3 days, and we'll pitch in and just ask how each other do it. But like I have you I speak to on a regular basis. Like if I'm worried about stuff, I will say things to you, like when I spoke to you about like how my dad is and stuff, and things like that, and the worries around it and stuff. And then I've got Joe. I go to the gym with Joe, and like going to the gym is like a social aspect. It's just a thing that I need where it's not. I'm not at home. I'm not expected to be the father, the husband,
Mhm.
to carry the household weight and stuff like that. I'll go to Joe, and we'll just chat like what we've been doing, what the kids have been up to, ideas around stuff, lift weights, and just kind of get the frustration and everything out there with the weights and things. Come away from that feeling a hell of a lot better. That's like a recharge that I need, like from me. So it's taking the time to do something for me and things that I enjoy. And I realized I needed that as like at the back end of last year. That's when I was at my worst, and I needed that. So I made the conscious effort to try and talk to Joe and stuff, because we kind of passed and we shared a few like common interests in terms of gaming and stuff. And I think at the time he was doing something podcasty or trying to do something podcasty at the same time.
Hmm.
So he was asking questions about that. Um, and our boys get on really well together. So it was like I need to kind of make more of a friend. I need to go more because I don't have a huge social circle. I have
Sure.
people that I work with. You that's thousands of miles away, and then Lindsay, and there's a lot of leaning on Lindsay for stuff.
Mhm.
And I get that when she's got all the stuff that she deals with at school with the kids and stuff like that, she doesn't need a grown child leaning on her as well.
Well, I mean, she's there for
So
that, but also sometimes she just can't be the point of view you need her to be. Like she just
no,
legitimately can't. Like just like we can't for our wives because we don't entirely understand what it's like to be a wife, a mother, a woman, all those things, right? So like, yeah, you need
yeah,
somebody same sex to be able to be like, okay, give me the lowdown. Not that you don't lean on your wife, but yeah, you need somebody to that I think can have your viewpoint.
yeah, definitely. And again, there's a reason why I'm glad that we've started this up as two dads who are open to having that kind of discussion. That then people will listen and be like, huh, yeah, those guys are right, and you can either reach out to us and or anything like that, or make the step yourself to reach out to a friend or a family member or like you say a counselor or something like that, to
Mm-hmm.
make the effort to get out there and speak. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I think, and that's the and you can have a soul battery empty in a lot of it's not a one and done, right? So like
no,
I think of um when I worked at my previous job. Well, I don't see why it would matter. When I worked at Salvation Army, um, I was soul battery empty at work. I had nothing left. Did that leak? No pun intended. Leak over into family? Sure, but my soul battery wasn't empty for family. It was just I was done with that job. I was done with the amount of stuff and the responsibility I had and the things that were coming at me every single day. Maybe I could have worked my way out of it, but I had waited way too long, and I did not see that. Becca will tell you that she saw it, and she was like, "Hey, you need to do something about this," but I did not see it at all. I felt like I was fine. It's just I was like, work just sucks. They're not doing the right thing and blah 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 blah. And so I had a work battery empty, but I still loved hanging out with family. Like that's where I wanted to be. But did my work battery being empty seep into family? Yeah, sure, because I was crankier when I came home from work than than I than other than I would be.
Yeah, you spend that much effort and energy somewhere else, you're going to take it from other places. So it takes you a lot to kind of hold it together at work and not kind of go every like desk goes everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
you just like, screw you guys, flip everybody the bird, walk out and set fire to the places you leave. It takes a lot to not do that when you're in that point. And I
Yeah,
know that sounds like a very extreme way, but
I like it.
it's yeah, you come away from that and you get home. There's the journey home becomes like I'll just go 5 mile an hour slower.
Mm.
I'll listen to the music that I'll pull up on the drive, and that the pause between pulling up on the drive and getting out the car becomes a little bit longer because you just kind of need that time to process and
Mm-hmm.
regulate before you then walk in, because you got to take the work mask off. I've dealt with the crap that I've dealt with at work all day. I don't want to walk in taking this stink of an energy that I've got with me from work into the house. But eventually, you spend that much energy doing that, it starts to just wear away, and you then end up carrying that with you, and it's visible. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Like, my final thoughts here are like, as dads, you're probably gonna be all three of these. The first two, you're gonna be those like once a week, probably.
yeah, from birth,
Yeah, yeah,
that's going to
yeah,
happen as soon as they arrive in the world. Instantly tired,
yeah.
and it becomes a constant argument of who's more tired.
That's right. Yeah, those two are gonna happen on a weekly basis at least. And if they're only happening on a weekly basis, pat yourself on the back. You're doing it right. Um, the other one is gonna happen at some point, and it's tougher. But on all three of those, um, listen to your wife, to that diamond we speak of friends around you, and even like with me with my son, it was like he knew. And listen, gauge where you're at so you can properly um be there for yourself and give yourself what you need, which in turn only helps your entire family if you do that. So
Yeah,
so yeah. Mm.
definitely. I can't say any more to that. You can only the other analogy I like to that I wanted to share is that you can only give from a cup that's full
Yep.
or has
So good.
something in it. And if you have hit the bottom of the cup, you can't give anything else to anyone else. So it plays to be selfish when it comes to that point. So if you get to
Mm-hmm.
that point and people are asking a lot of you, just no, full stop is a whole sentence. And that's quite. Somebody
That's
said
good.
that to me today. I was like,
Full stop
no,
is a whole
no, sorry,
sentence.
didn't say that. I saw it on a framed picture in the store. I walked like walked around a home store today just for the fun of it, and it was like one of the pictures, and it just said no, full stop is a full sentence, and I was like, oh, I like that
Yeah,
analogy.
that is
So
good. That's real good.
yeah, don't be afraid to be selfish. Look after yourself,
Yep.
because then at the end of the day, you've got smaller people that rely on you to be here
Mm-hmm.
and to be the best that you can be. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
For sure. I got nothing else.
No, I was gonna say I like it's hard when we have the deeper episodes because we get to the end of it and it's like, wow, how do I roll that out? Like, yeah, thanks very much for listening to this really dark episode, and I really hope that you don't feel like. But yeah, genuinely, these are one of my favorite episodes to do, but equally they're the hardest ones to close out.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you very much for listening. We do hope if you are in a situation that you currently feel like your soul battery is drained, that you can reach out with. There's always plenty of places both sides of the pond to do it. There's Andy's Man's Club in the UK, stuff like that. But there's the Samaritans and everything like that you can speak to them. Equally, there's a similar services in the US. I can't 100% say for the names. I really need to learn those and remember them. But
So
wherever
do
you
I.
are, there's always somebody there that's ready to listen Even I know if you feel that way out and you walk into a fire station in the US, I know a lot of them are now mental health trained and will assist in some way, shape, or form to sit you down, point you in the right direction of who to speak to. Don't be afraid not to speak out. A million people around you will turn around and say that they appreciate to hear your background and your story rather than have to read your obituary in the papers because you've done something that's very final. So yeah, thanks very very much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Dad Crossing. We're here to remind you that this podcast is made by dads for dads. It's a place where all of us can come together, share a laugh, and tackle the wild ride that is fatherhood. If you want to keep the conversation going or just need a safe space to chat or ask for help, you are always welcome to reach out. You can find me, Sean, at Sean_Abbott, and you can find my good friend Nick at Nick10Do. And of course, give our social media platforms a good look over because that is where we share all the updates, all the laughs, and all the things dad life. That is, everything is at Dad Crossing. For anything more, feel free to drop us a message at team@dadcrossing.com. And until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. We'll see you in the next episode of Dad Crossing.